All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, All Things Business. Al Thomas here. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I think I've got a good one for you tonight. I want everybody to sit back, settle back, and just listen and learn. The topic tonight is why everybody needs to be involved in network marketing. Everybody. Now, I'm going to go through 10 points tonight. I want you guys to pay close attention and go back and re-listen this again and again and again, but there's 10 points. And here's why. In my book called God's Gift, I've talked about number one, it's a great, number one point, it's a great training ground. That's right, it's a great training ground. In chapter six, I talk about time to build MLM. Now, what does that mean, Mr. Al Thomas? That means it's time to understand that network marketing is a wave of the future. You don't have to stay in it, but it's a great place to start. And I'll talk about that why I feel that as we go through these 10 points. So, that number one point is a great training ground. It teaches you things you don't get in schools and colleges. Number two point, it helps you become independent. What do you mean by that? Well, most things teach us to be dependent, not independent. A job teaches us how to be dependent upon the job, but no schools or colleges teach us how to be independent, means self-reliance, dependent upon oneself. And you need to do that more and more as the years transpire and as we grow. So you got to learn how to be independent. And now, because of the situation, more people want to be at home, but nobody's ever taught us how to be independent. Number three point tonight is it teaches you entrepreneurship. What does it mean by entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is not taught in schools and colleges. And if it is, it's taught by some professor who's actually never done the business, had never done it, had an opportunity to work for themselves. In other words, they don't have on the job training or never really done it. There's a lot of schooling, teaching, rhetoric, let's put it that way. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but a lot of professors are teaching things they have never done themselves. There was a great book, great movie out there called Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield in it. Let me give you the synopsis of the movie. As a matter of fact, I'd advise you go watch it. It's pretty funny. It's really funny, actually. So Roger Dangerfield is a very successful man in New York City, selling suits and ties in New York City. His son goes to college, and he decided, you know what? I'm going through divorce. Why not go to see my son and go to college as well? And he gets to college, and there's an English professor, very proper gentleman, and he's teaching a class on business. And Rodney Dangerfield was sitting in the audience, listening to how he was teaching. And every time he'd say something, he'd raise his hand up. So that's not how it's done. It's done this way. And he'd say something else. No, that's not how it's done. It's done this way. And the professor got so upset with him because Rodney Dangerfield was talking from the actual doing a business, not from the standpoint of how a business should be run. So here again, you have a professor teaching what should be done, and here you got a business owner, a millionaire, teaching him what and how it actually is done. So network marketing number three, it teaches you how to be an entrepreneur. In other words, some things you will never learn in school. I think the first university I know of that started teaching network marketing or entrepreneurship was a school in Chicago. Yes, started teaching that maybe 10 years ago. But here again, a lot of people teaching the classes have never owned a business. So you're getting a lot of talking about things people have never done. So school doesn't teach us the system. The system is saving yourself time, energy, and money. So you have to be careful of that. Number four reason, you develop good sales skills. People have never taught sales skill. Most people rather go to HELL than learn how to SELL. Why? It's more comfortable there. There are people that will have made $25,000 annually. I've seen in network marketing go making $25,000 monthly because they had developed their skills. And not only been a great training ground, but it helps develop your skills into perfecting it. And you can never run out of people to talk to. It's a numbers game. Remember, some will, some won't, somewhere, six will. Now, a lot of us have a misunderstanding of network marketing. Oh, it's a pyramid deal. Well, no, your job is the same way. Think about it. President, vice president, upper management, lower management, and the worker bees. So you have to understand that that's what entrepreneurship about. It helps you develop your sales skills, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Number five, the fifth reason, your people skills will increase because it will help you understand that everything in the world, listen to me, revolves around sales, whether you like it or not. You're walking down the street, you smile at somebody, you just sold them a smile. If you're in a relationship, if you're married, well, somebody there sold somebody that you get the idea. You have a boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, somebody sold you that, didn't they? So all day long, but we don't look at it as sales. But everything we do is sales. If everything stopped today, it would. We all know what that happened a couple of years ago with that situation. It would take the act of Congress, which happened, or God, to put things back in motion again. So everything, whether you like the idea or not, everything in life evolves around sales. So you have to increase your sales skills because everything. You got a job? Did you sell them on the idea you're the best person? See, we do it all day long, but we don't label it sales. Everything we do is sales, folks. You're selling your kids on the idea of, you see, everything we do is sales. All right, so you get the idea. Number six, you discover your true value by getting out of your comfort zone. Oh my God, this is so huge. We get in our comfort zone and we just get so comfortable there. We get comfortable by justifying everything we do. You have to make a decision. The key word is decision. Well, what does that mean, Mr. Al Thomas? Decision means making, it says the root word is cut away. You have to cut away some things in your life to make a decision. Look, when a hot air balloon wants to go up, and I love going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the balloon festival is, tens of thousands of balloons going up. It's beautiful to see. But anyway, they have to cut the rope for the balloon to go up. Otherwise, it stays there no matter how much heat you put in that big balloon. Let me give an example of rubber band. Now, people skills increase. Notice this. Uh, Discover your value. See, watch this. I could take this rubber band and stretch it, 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 stretch it. And the true value here is getting out of the comfort zone by stretching it with more knowledge, understanding, right? Reading, being congruent with where you want to go in life. Watch this. If I let and I hold it here for a couple of days, the rubber band will never go back to its original state because it will be stretched forever. And you could stretch it some more and stretch it some more. Folks, you're just like this rubber band. You will not pop. Who told you that? Whoever told you that has never stretched themselves. Now look how far I stretched that rubber band. If I held it here for a couple of days, guess what happened? It'll stay there. So it's called capacity. Your capacity to learn, your capacity to discover your true value by getting out of your comfort zone. And a lot of times people shoot you down because why? They're in their comfort zone. And because you'll make them look bad, they have to talk bad about you. That's took me 3 years to understand that philosophy. Why do people? Because they don't want to go off their comfort zone. So rather than joining you in your endeavor, they want to make you feel bad by telling everybody, oh, don't do that, don't do this, because they're comfortable right where they're at and they don't want to move. Number seven, discovering your worth. That's just so powerful, so powerful. In my book, God's Gift, chapter 9 talks about readers or leaders. This is how you discover your worth. Your worth is what you put in. The worth is your work. The worth is what you're learning. The worth is what you develop to become. The worth is what you develop into. Like I said earlier, when people got involved with network marketing, I see people go from used to make 25, 30,000 a year, making that monthly because they got their worth up. And how do they do that? By discovering it. Let me tell you something. When a baby is born, the doctor doesn't say, hey, this baby's only worth $20 an hour. Hey, this baby's only worth $30 an hour. No, your worth is what you put in, your work. So you have to understand what are your worth. So if you follow number one, great training ground. Number two, become independent because that's what we teach you. because most things don't teach you. It teaches you to be dependent. Number three, it teaches you entrepreneurship because schools and college don't teach you that. Number four, develop your good sales skills, which everybody needs. Number five, develop your people skills will increase. Number six, discover your true value, not just your value, but your true value by getting out of your comfort zone. And number six, seven, discovering your worth. Now, and number nine, number nine, I'm sorry, number eight, how to build a business or a sales force. So when you use the word decision, it means cut away. Salesforce. Most of us have never understood that. See, if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. So tomorrow, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. Nobody's ever told us how to build a structure like corporate America. Think about it. Every company is structured this way. Every company is structured. Think about it. How many Starbucks in your town? One or zillions? Zillions. What if you got a quarter on every sale of Starbucks coffee in your city? Wow. A lot of money, isn't it? Well, wait a minute. McDonald does it, Burger King does it, CVS does it, Walgreens does it, Taco Bell, don't this time me Taco Bell, McDonald. I think about it, Burger King. Why don't you have a business like that? Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Thomas, that's a pyramid deal. No, every company is structured that way. Okay, every company. So, and that would go with number nine, overcoming objections. Well, here again, it's a pyramid, Mr. Thomas. Everything is structured. Your company is structured this way. Like I said before, your president, vice president, upper manager, lower manager, supervisor. You know, got the big belly tie whip to here. All the way down to the worker bees. Everything in life is structured this way. If you go in the Sam's Club and look on the wall, you'll see that structure of their pecking order. Hey, let me tell you something. Even the military knows it works. Watch this. General, colonel, major, captain, lieutenant. Watch this. Sergeant, corporal, all the way down to the buck private. Everything is structured this way. Everything. See, what you've been taught by things by people who are not ultra successful. Every structure is done this way. Show me what isn't, and I'll show you that it is. Everything in life. So overcoming objection is a big thing that stops people. And by you developing into understanding how to overcome people's objections, and trust me, there's only about 25 of them. Matter of fact, I came out of cassette tapes years and years and years, a couple of decades ago. I'm aging myself. It's called the 25 Objections to Network Marketing, how to handle them. And when I came out with this cassette tape, that's how long it was. It was teaching people there's only 25. And once you hear the same 25 over and over and over, you become the master of them. And all of a sudden, somebody can say something now, and guess what? It's going to come out my mouth just that quick. And I want you to develop that skill set. It's a skill. There's only 25 of them. And by the way, there's only nine bad people in the whole world. They just move around a lot. So once you overcome these objections, you will build that what I call rhino skin, elephant skin, because it doesn't hurt because you've heard the same question year after year, month after month, because it's the same questions that they all have. Is it a pyramid deal? How much going to cost me? Why I got to put money into owning a business? Because here they never know. They never had a business. So once you master the 25 objections, your business will take off like a rocket ship. Let me tell you something. When I first started network marketing, I was like everybody. I had zero customers, zero ideals, zero everything. There was a guy, and I lived in Sacramento, a guy named Lane Winsett was coming to Oakland, California, about an hour and a half drive down. I got in my car, took two carloads of people. I was brand new to the industry. It was December 1990. And I drove all the way down and took, like I said, two carloads. And this guy was a big meeting for me because the biggest one I ever heard. Because here again, I wanted to seek out who had the information. Are you the same way? And I got to the meeting, and the meeting started on time at 7 o'clock. There was maybe 300 people in the room, and this guy was so good. I mean, he was so good that about 35 to 40% of the room signed up back in those days. And I said, wow, that was amazing. But what I also learned was this from that number one guy in the company. He was only in one location that day. He was good. But watch this. Here's a lesson I learned. He wasn't duplicatable. And that's why I teach people how to be duplicatable. And I said to myself, what if he had 20 of himself, 30 or 40 or 50 of himself duplicated throughout the country that night? How would that work for him? And in my dear friend's book, Beach Money, which I've talked about in that book, how Jordan Artland said, wait a minute. He saw all these people in the room because Al Thomas didn't bring all these 100 people in here. He brought three, they brought 10, they brought 20. And also he realized that night I had 10 or 15 meetings around the country going on at that time. Wow. See, that's how you build a big, strong organization. And number 10 is what I was going to really get to, learning how to approach people. Wow. You got to learn how to master talking to people. Well, Miss Thomas, I'm an introvert. Well, change. You're not because you got a job. Somebody told somebody. Oh, see. So we put these roadblocks in our way, or excuses. Look, you got to learn how to approach people. You were taught don't get in a stranger's car. What is that called today? Uber. Don't go to a stranger's house. What is that called today? Airbnb. So you have to learn how to communicate. Communicate is spiritual. And if you're not good at it, get better at it. Don't tell me what you're not good at. Get better at it because you can all can learn. About a year ago, less than a year ago, several months ago, I had no idea about internet stuff. Guess what? I had to learn it. I had to learn this, but I wanted it. So, in other words, write this down. How bad do you want to succeed? Let me tell you a story. These are young boys. They were trying to find this old man. He was the wealthiest man in the whole town, and they were looking for him all over the town. And one little boy said, "Oh shoot, he's not gonna tell us. I'm gonna give up." And maybe some of you folks think about giving up. Don't give up. Be like the second boy. Kept seeking the knowledge. Watch this. Key right there. Seeking the knowledge. Seeking who had the answers. Tip. There's your tip. And the little boy kept running around looking for the old man, and he went down by the riverbank, and he saw the old man in the river. And the little boy ran out there, and he was really excited because he was enthusiastic. Hope that's you. And he got out there. He says, old man, tell me the secret how to become wealthy." The old man looked at the young boy. He didn't say a word. He put his hand on his head and he pushed him down the water for 4 seconds. And he let him up. Young boy said, "Oh man, you tried to kill me." And the young man said, "All I want to know is the secret how to become wealthy." The old man just smiled, looked at the young man, and he did it one more time. For 4 seconds. Let him up. "Oh man, that's twice you tried to kill me." And all I wanted to know was the secret how to become wealthy. And the old man said this, "Young man or young woman out there, what did you want the most?" "To breathe, you old fool, to be able to breathe." And the old man said this, "Young man or young woman, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you will. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Will you drive 4 miles, see more people, get more no's? All the no is flipping upside things on. Will you go through the ups and downs? Will you go out there and do what you got to do when nobody's looking? Will you continue on when nobody's encouraging you? That's what it takes to be successful, folks. You know, look, let me explain something. This business of network marketing is as you will it to be. Let me tell you another story. There was two boys, and they were gonna try to figure out they're gonna try to throw this old guy off, and he was kind of a very smart, wise old man, and he was in the center of town, and he always gave wisdom every Thursday at about noon. He would come out, the village would come out, and he would, just give him some words of wisdom, knowledge, wisdom. Get it? Knowledge, wisdom tonight. Well, knowledge, wisdom. And these little boys got a bird in their hand. They go, "You know what? We're gonna trick the old soul man, and we're gonna ask this old man, is this bird in our hand alive or dead? And if he says it's alive, we're gonna kill it to prove him wrong in front of everybody and embarrass him. His wisdom is not that great." And if the old man said, you know, it's the bird is dead, we're gonna let it fly out of our hands. Yeah, there we go. We'll show him he's not that wise, and we'll embarrass him in front of all the townspeople. So that Thursday, boys got together with had a birthday. They went down there, pushing through the crowd, and they got to the front. And they said, "Excuse me, old man, can we approach the stairs?" "Sure, come on up, young boys." Young boys walked up the stairs. And they said, "Old man, since you have so much wisdom and knowledge and expertise, we have a question for you. We have this bird in our hand. Is this bird dead or is it alive?" And here again, old man had wisdom, and he thought about it for a second. And he said, "Young man, the answer is that bird that you have in your hand." They go, "Shh, we got him now. We got him." "Yes, sir." And the old man said this, "Young men, the bird that you have in your hand is as you and you as you choose it to be." Wow. They were stunned. In other words, the old man said, "You have the control of that opportunity in your hand. And it could be whatever you will it to do. You can make your business fly or you could actually kill it. It's as you will it to be." Folks, that's why everybody needs to be involved in network marketing. Number one, it's a great training ground. Number two, it helps you become independent, not dependent. Number three, it teaches you entrepreneurship. Number four, you develop good skills and sales skills. Number five, it helps you develop people skills will increase. Number six, you'll discover your true value, getting you out of your comfort zone, which is powerful. And number seven, discovering your worth, your worth. And number eight, helps you build a business and a great sales force around you. And number nine, helps you overcome objection. And number 10, it helps you to learn how to approach people. In my book, God's Gift, in chapter 11, it talks about we all have choices. Folks, you have the choice to remain the same, just like you did when you got on this call, or you can make a decision to draw the line in the sand and step over it and choose to change as of tonight. The choice is yours. 35 plus years ago, I drew the line in the sand and said, I want more. I talked about my book. My dad asked me to pass him a wrench, and I said, "Dad, this is Grab. Pass him a wrench." And I saw him dirty his hand with grease and calluses. I made a decision. Here again, chapter 11. I made a choice. I made a choice to use this rather than this. Folks, tonight, I hope you make a choice. I hope this bless you tonight. But that's why I want you to understand that's the power of network marketing. I've seen people in network marketing start there and they pole vault into other companies. And guess what happens? Yeah, they all go back and contribute their success to network marketing. And with that said, let's see if we got any questions out there. Mr. Clemens, do you have any questions out there, sir?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Great call. So we do have one question so far, and it is, I know you touched on it a little earlier, but why do you believe that colleges tend to avoid teaching entrepreneurship and network marketing?
Well, since 1905, the Rockefeller Foundation took out financial education out the school system, the whole system. Remember, system. System stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. Now, everything's a system. So understand, they said, look, we need workers. We need people to do our work in our factories. We need people to run it. If we like them, we'll make them a manager or a supervisor. But we're not going to teach them about money. And that's exactly why schools don't teach you about money. If you notice that as well, they don't teach you about money. You didn't learn anything about money until you came out of high school and teach you, college and teach you. That's deliberately by design not to teach you how to become wealthy. We'll teach you how to be a good worker, right? 95% of the people they work for money. If you take the W and flip it upside down, wealthy people, we make money. Wow. And that's the 5%. Watch this. Most people they work because that's what they want you to do. They want to control you, control your income. Then they tell you to give it to us on Wall Street so we can control your money while you go to work and hopefully and pray it'll be there in 30 years. So 95 percenters they work for money and their money goes on vacation, The 5%ers, we flip it over, we go on vacation while our money goes to work for us. It's totally opposite. If you notice any freeway anywhere in the world in the mornings early to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, everybody's in one direction. Hee ho, hee ho, hee ho, hee ho. The other side is us getting out their way, and that's why it's empty. We do everything the opposite. There you go. Now you're starting to catch up. We do everything the opposite. So by design, they don't want to teach you how money works. And the reason why a lot of people out there struggle because they weren't taught this. They were taught go to school. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with this. How to go to school, get a good education, and find a good job. My mentor always told me the word good and job don't go together. It's just a job. Ain't nothing good about it. There is nothing good about it. After working 5, 10, 20, 30 years, now you're in your 60s, you're too old to enjoy yourself. Now your health is going down, diminish. Now you take out the 401k, it's down to a K because you never controlled it. Successful people, the 5%ers want to control our destiny. We want to control our income. And we want to have 100% control of our money as well because we understand how to invest it. On the other side of the coin, you are not taught to invest in anything but mutual funds, which are controlled by Wall Street. And Wall Street makes money when it goes up, and they make money when it comes down, and you get the leftovers. Ain't that crazy? I think of Warren Buffett said, I've never seen people drive up to Wall Street driving a Rolls Royce, handing their money over to people that ride the subway home. Folks, that's so true. So yes, it's by design not to teach you, and that's why this channel is put together. Here's the goal: I want everybody to go watch more on this channel. Watch more of the videos we have on this channel because we do this to help you become financially independent. To this day, I've coached over 21 people who are millionaires. Yes, right, 21 in the last 35 years because I have never, never, never had a job. And I listened to those three billionaires that trained me. And the philosophy was I could have went that way what my parents taught me, which is I love my parents, but they struggle. Or I can listen to what wealthy people did. Which direction you think I should go? That's why I went this way. And that's why after all these years, I can teach you how to go this way. Not that way. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You have to go that way, make enough money, and then after a while, this will take over. And guess what? Next thing you know, you're financially free. So it's a process. It's a process. When a baby's born, they don't eat steak. They start off with milk. And as they get older and got teeth, now they can have a little bit of, baby food. And from baby food, they go to softer food. And then they go to solid food. And then they go to steak. You just don't start off that way. It's a process. Everything in life's a process. So you have to understand, the process. So this is the thing that you need to have to be successful. I hope that answers your question out there.
Absolutely. Great question. Great answer. And speaking of babies, we just had another question pop up. How and when do you begin to train children about network marketing? One of the ladies on has her grandchildren that are actually watching a video live with us.
Awesome. Starting young, start them right now. Listen, start them right now. Start them young. That way, their mind is in the right mindset. Mindset is a lot to do with it, a mindset. What happens is after a while, our mindset, we just give up the ghost, so to speak, because everybody, and think about it. When you start talking to your immediate friends around you who have been trained, and there's nothing wrong with going to work every day, but they're trained to do nothing but that. So as a youngster, get them trained now to see an opportunity. Train, like the Bible says, train them up young because as they get old, they won't depart from it. And the beautiful thing is that's a great way to build a family dynasty. If you go back, most people are entertained. They rather spend more time being entertained with TV, all this stuff, music that's taken our time away from taking essential time out of our day to build our financial freedom for our family and generations. Back in the old days, think about it, in Romans' day, they had what they called coliseums. They kept the people entertained in coliseums, didn't they? So they wouldn't learn about money or what they were doing with it. And if you notice in the old days, they would take the old money and they would chip off the silver or chip off the gold and steal from people that way. Well, today we call it printing press. But we from Coliseums, watch this, today, modern day, to keep your mind not making money or keep our kids not understanding how wealth is created, we went from the Coliseums back in the Romans days to now to what? Auditoriums. And we have Coliseums today called basketball, football, all these sports to keep your mind off of making money and entertaining you so you don't have time to get financially free. You see the difference? There's no difference from the Roman days with Coliseums to today playing basketball, football games. We're so busy being entertained, we can't take time out to gain our own wealth. I had a guy that them, oh, it's my team, that's my team. I said, son, sir, they don't even know who you are. It's not your team. So here again, I'm sorry, got off a little bit, but you have to understand, teaching them young as possible. Young as possible, young as possible. And when I started in network marketing, most of the people I got in were young people, and they brought their kids on eventually. So yes, train the child young, get them now. So therefore, they understand the difference in being their own boss and be able to build a business versus building someone else's business all day long, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care who you're on this call. We all have the same amount of time. It's called 24 hours a day. Are you building an asset for you and your family, or are you building somebody else's asset and they give us a tip called a paycheck? I've always been over here. Watch this. Who's going to look out for you better? Them or you? Who's going to look out for your kids better and grandkids better? Them or you? Make it a family business. Make it where we all can work together. Yeah, it's sad to me to see people go to dinner these days and the whole family sitting around the table and everybody's got their cell phone out doing these numbers and nobody's communicating. Wouldn't it be neat to pull your whole family into a business? You could work together as a team and build a family dynasty like the Mellons, the AP Jennings. Wouldn't that be great? The Rockefellers. Same thing can happen for you and your family, folks. Very good question. Start them off as soon as possible. I would say ASAP. Next question, sir. Thank you for that question.
Yes, sir. And I think we have one more that'll be a great one to close out on. So this one, how does the flexibility of network marketing make it a more attractive option compared to the traditional 9 to 5 jobs or entrepreneurship?
That's a good question. Basically, what are the benefits? Let me give you the benefits. First of all, you get started around your schedules through the cracks of your day. Okay, that's what you can do. Let me give you an idea. When I started 1 hour a day. Oh, what'd you do with that 1 hour? Well, here's what I did with that 1 hour. I had let me show you. I have a little book, and I would take down who I talked to for 10 minutes, Mr. Clemens here. I talked to somebody else 20 minutes. I talked to somebody else 15. So I got an hour in, part time. And you could do this to the cracks of your schedule, lunch hour before you go home, after work, whatever. I put an hour in. My first year, I made about $17,000 working about an hour a day, part time around my schedule. Not a lot of money, but it proved to me it worked. An extra $1,000. Wait a minute, 17 grand a year. That's a little over $1,000 a month. What could you do with an extra $1,000 a month coming through your household on top of your job? Would that pay some bills? Would that get some Christmas? I mean, think about that. But I was learning, just like a doctor, lawyer. I'm learning. Not bad for my first year. My second year, I was making in 3 hours what took the average person 8 hours to make. My three versus somebody making 8 hours. I was making what the average person making in 8 hours in three. Why? Because I had two things kicked in: leverage, and I had residual income, something that most people don't have today. So in other words, if you don't go to work tomorrow, guess what happened to your income? You don't make anything. Well, in this business, I still make money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. By my third year, I was making in a month what some people made annually. Now, why is that, Mr. Thomas? Because I understood, I put the time in it. I put the time in my own business, not their business, my own business. Was it tough? Absolutely. Was it discouraging at times? Oh, absolutely. Did people laugh at me? Absolutely. I tell them my cassette tape, one of my first cassette tapes was sitting right here. The keys to success in network marketing. And I tell on that one, I remember going to the grocery store and I would say hello to somebody, and they said, "Oh, there he is, the phone man," or whatever, or the man, later. But I remember going to grocery stores and people running over to the frozen food section to miss me. So I wouldn't talk to them. I remember going outside the store and waving at somebody. They jumped in front of an 18-wheeler truck across the street to avoid me. So this is normal because normal people make normal income. I was trying to help people make excessive income, more than their bills, and have extra to do whatever they want, to bring the wife home, the husband home, put away money for the college for their kids, take vacations like I take 6 to 7 a year. I'm trying to help people. But they were run because they didn't know no better. They were taught by other people. Oh, here's one of those things. But they never slowed down to get the facts. I appreciate somebody who said, "Let me examine the information and the facts." And once they get the facts and they said, "No, I got it." But once they sat down and got the information, they go, "What? This makes sense. Why wouldn't I want to save money on stuff I use every day? This makes sense." Especially today when things are going up. Have you noticed your rent's going up, your gas bill's going up? Think about it. Everything's going up. Everything's going up. Your car insurance going up. Come on. Why wouldn't you look at something that you could get paid on part time around your schedule and then over time build a big organization? My biggest month in this industry, because I stuck with it, was over 8,000 representatives of my team in 1 month. Well, did I ever think that was going to happen? No, honestly, I no. But I knew if I stuck with it every day and made a commitment. This is what blows my mind. Why do people work 8 hours a day for somebody else who don't give a rat's back in about you, trying to fire you today, and you won't put two a day in your own business? Because we all have the same amount of time in a day. Let's break it down. 24 hours. We all have it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your profession, doctor, lawyer, could be an Indian chief. We all still have 24 hours a day. It's what you do with those 24 hours a day. So let's say we take 8 hours to sleep. Okay, that gives us 16 hours. Well, let's see, you got a job, it's 8 hours there. That still leaves you 8 hours, right? Yeah. Well, let's say you had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So let's take another 3 hours there. So you're down to 5 hours. Well, you got to spend time with the family. Let's give that 2 hours. You still have 3 hours unaccounted for. You have 3 hours you can work your business. So there's no excuse. It goes back to how bad do you want to succeed? Remember the story about the boys. Just want to breathe. How bad do you want it? A lot of people say they want it, but they don't put the effort in it. And that's why it blows my mind when I see people work 8 hours a day that want to put an hour or two into something that can bless their family forever. And then when they lose their job, they got to go beg. I mean, ask for another one. To me, I mean, maybe it's me. I don't get it. I don't see the logic in it. Why wouldn't I put an hour or two a day in something that is going to pay me a lot of dividends, and I'm building an asset for me and my family on top of it that's willable? Wow, it's willable, Mr. Thomas. Yeah, I can borrow against. Oh yeah, it's a business. I'm building an empire within the house. Oh my God, my empire expands over all these states and cities and countries. Wow. But what if I never got started? Can you imagine me working at McDonald's? You walk in one day and I got a hat on and an apron, say, "Hey, can I supersize those fries?" You probably start laughing, those that know me. And I can't imagine that. Neither can I. Why? Because I took these principles and I went to work an hour or two a day. And by my third year, I was financially free. Now, that's not going to happen to everybody. Some of it may take a little longer. But I got a question. What else you got to do? What else you got to do? So, I mean, really, what else you got to do? Wow. Well, Miss Thomas, what about I miss my kids' games? Well, let me tell you something. I missed some of my kids' game. They were young at that age too, but when they're so young, they don't remember it. But do what they remember later is flying around on private jets. They remember later on the lifestyle they live. So there's a little bit of sacrifice. Watch this. If your company called you in, you go in a heartbeat. No ifs, ands, but about it. So what's the difference in that and you taking an hour or two building your own business? I don't get that part. But let the company call you. Oh, I'll be in. So why can't you take the same hour to and build your own business? Like I said, who's going to treat you better, them or you? And remember, as my dear friend Robert Kiyosaki say, assets feed you, liabilities eat you. You are here to build an asset. A couple hours a day. Can you just imagine where you'll be in 1 or 2 or 3 years from today if you did this part time? Can you imagine what it feel like to be no job in 3 to 4 or 5 years? Can you imagine the zip code you could live in, the car you'd be driving? Can you imagine the vacation you could take? Can you? I mean, the reason why most of us can't imagine it because we just settle for what we're at and don't want to get off the couch eating bonbons and watching our sports team. That's why those guys and girls make so much money because you're watching them. Let me ask you a question. Who is watching and participating with you as you make your first million or two? Wow. I don't expect all that. No, well, here I'm trying to wake you up. I'm trying to wake you up. Is there any more questions, sir? Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And remember, the topic tonight is how everybody, not a few of us, everybody needs to be involved because a network market. Why? It's a great, I'm going to go to the top 10. Number one, it's a great training ground. And I talked about it in chapter 6 of my book, God's Gift. It helps you be independent. Number 3, it helps you teach you entrepreneurship. Number 4, you develop good sales skills. Number 5, it helps develop skills that will help increase your people skills. And number 6 is discover the true value of what you're worth. And number 7 is discover your worth. I'm sorry. And number 8, how to build a business and a Salesforce team that is second to none. And number 9, how to overcome objections. And number 10, learning how to approach people. And I'm telling you what, go to chapter number 11 of my book, God's Gifts, is on the channel. And it says we all have choices. Tonight, you have a choice to remain the same, or you have a choice to take your future in your own hands and your family. And with that said, I want to thank everybody on the call tonight.